This episode is brought to you by HP Plus. In a world full of smart devices, isn't it about time your printer got smart too? Now printing is smart with HP Plus, and the HP Smart app is how it all happens. You can print from your phone with just a tap, no matter where you are, even from your garage/home office/yoga studio. Huh, that is smart. HP Plus. Learn more about smart printing at hp.com/smart.
Okay, everybody, welcome to the latest episode of All Too Real 2. My name is Michael E. Collin II, and with me, as always, is
Matthew Alligator Loki Haas.
It's a good name.
Yep.
Are you an alligator?
No, actually, I'm not. But I like the name Alligator. That's gonna be my new nickname. You can call me Gator. No, please don't call me Gator. I don't want that nickname to stick.
Well, now it is.
No. Gator, woo! No, going to fucking Buffalo Wild Wings with that bullshit. No.
I'm gonna. Your new name is Gatorade, and no, I'll call you Powerade. Anyway, so So today on the show, we are covering the latest episode of Loki, the Disney Plus Marvel television series. This is episode 5, entitled Journey into Mystery. It was directed by Kate Herron and written by Tom Kaufman, and produced by Michael Waldron. Initial reactions here, Matt. What'd you think of this episode?
Oh man, I loved it. Oh man, I watched it twice, right? And I still get goosebumps at the same exact part each time. I don't want to say which one right now, okay. But
when we get to it,
man.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, it was a good episode. I liked it a lot. I still think the previous episode was my favorite, but this one was a good one. Very interesting episode. I'll give you that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was good. Creates a lot of questions. Not really sure where this show's going to end, but hoping that we get some good conclusion that's satisfying to viewers of all kinds, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, I asked what people thought of this episode. Here's some of the thoughts here, kind of paraphrased from some of the people. Jeff Avery predicts that the last episode of Loki will be the last episode of Loki. Amber Dawn says that it's going to be King Loki or Kang at the end, maybe a variant Renslayer. Jake says that he really hopes that it's Kang, and he, if you want to go into our group and read his whole response, he's got a lot of good points here. We don't really have time to go through all of them because he wrote a long paragraph here. Basically, and Allison Dow says that she thinks it might be old school Loki. Somehow, which I'm not really sure. But you can read the answers that we have in our All Too Real 2 podcast group on Facebook, and making your comments that you might have too. But it's interesting. Interesting thoughts. You know, like I have my theories about how this is all going to end, which I'll get into in our speculation at the end. So let's get into the episode here, Matt. What happened in the episode?
Oh, so much. So, Loki wakes up in this, like, new realm or whatever, and there's all these different Loki variations standing before him, and he asks if he's in Hell, Hel, which is like a Norse kind of purgatory type of... it's basically where you went to if you didn't go to Valhalla, which is kind of like the heaven, I guess, of Norse afterlife, somewhat.
Yeah.
Hell's kind of like where everyone else goes, like, because basically, in order to get to Valhalla, you have to fight. You have to die while fighting a battle. So if you don't do that, you don't get to go to the cool place. You got to go to this little, other realm that's not as great. So basically, it's an incentive to keep fighting and pillaging, which is kind of like what a lot of religions teach. Anyway, but,
yes, okay.
It's a whole other subject right there. But you can only go to the good place if you kill. Okay. Anyway, that I got derailed here. But so they're like, he's like, "Am I dead?" And they're like, "You will be if you don't come with us." And then you see like this really creepy purple cloud, like forming like a face with like red eyes in the mouth, making this really creepy electronic sound. Like, oh man, that sound, it just freaked me out.
It's very, very okay. It's a smoke monster, very much like the smoke monster on Lost. That makes similar sounds, which is interesting because Michael Waldron, who is the head showrunner of the show, or writer, or whatever you want to call it, head writer. They don't call him a showrunner. He is a big fan of Damon Lindelof, who was one of the co-creators of Lost. So I'm thinking that there was some inspiration there, even though the character that we find out is named Eliath, that's the name of the smoke monster in the show, is actually a character from the comic books. So, but it's interesting that, it's like it had a Lost feel to it.
Yeah. So just quick note now, that's going to be my new nickname, is Smoke Monster. And I'm going to do a whole persona of myself as like a pothead who's like in a jam band. And it's like, oh man, the Smoke Monster's here. I mean, I don't really hardly smoke. But like, that could be my new thing.
I'm sorry, Matt. No, your nickname is going to be Smoke Gator.
No, Smoke Gator. Doesn't even make any sense.
Gator Smoke. It's Gator Smoke.
Gator. It's Gator Smoke is here, man. God, that's so depressing. But
tonight, one night only, Willie Nelson and Gator Smoke.
Oh god. Oh man. Yeah. So they are going, basically just trying to hide away from the smoke monster or to Gator Smoke, and he's like, trying to ask them a bunch of questions, but they're like, no, we gotta survive, gotta get out of here first. And they eventually tell him a few things just to sort of appease him a little bit, and then he eventually just decides to follow them to figure out how to live in this place or whatever. Meanwhile, you got Sylvie is interrogating Renslayer now to figure out everything about the TVA, like how it's created, like how who really runs the place now that the Time Masters have been revealed just to be, androids just standing, just playing the part. And Renslayer is kind of, trying to act like she's concerned or just as shocked as Sylvie is, but it turns out of course, the whole thing's an act. She's just trying to stall Sylvie until, the guards can get there so they can try to...
Yeah, basically what she does is she pulls out Miss Minutes to ask her. Renslayer has Miss Minutes like look for things until the TVA troops can arrive, and basically that was all just a ruse there between Miss Minutes and Renslayer, to try to kill time before they killed Sylvie.
Kill time, I like
that.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Unintentional puns, love them.
Yep.
Unintentional puns opening up for Gator Smoke.
Yeah. It's like a really crappy jam band, and then like they all open up for oh shit, what's that? The guy who's like kind of like in a jam band, sort of like acoustic jam band, like
well, maybe they're all opening up for Fish. No,
not Fish. The guy we saw him a couple years ago in Toledo. He plays acoustic guitar. He's like kind of like a jam band. I forgot his name.
Is it Ryan Dunlap?
Yeah. So like these shitty bands open up for Ryan Dunlap. So like it's like and he's like doing it for a favor. Like, all right, yeah, let unintentional puns and Gator Smoke open for me.
Yes. None of them should be associated with Ryan Dunlap, who is a very good, talented artist. Who
no, I know.
Is if you're listening to this podcast, which I don't think you are, because I don't think he's a fan of Marvel. Just letting you know, I love you, Ryan. You're awesome. Make sure you go look him up, Ryan Dunlap. Yes. Please buy his CDs and listen to his music.
Yeah, and let Gator Smoke open up for you.
Yes,
and
they will one day. Ironically, Ryan lives in Florida now, home of the Florida Gators. So,
wow.
What the?
Wow.
Yes. Oh God. Anyway, so so they're killing time, and basically when the troops arrive and Sylvie's about to be captured, after Renslayer has kind of told her that Loki is still alive and that he's been teleported to this place called the Void, which is a dimension at the end of time where everything the TVA prunes is dumped, like everything. And, so basically, people aren't really dying; they're being sent to this void where they could die there, but they're not dying. Right. They're not dying at the TVA. So Sylvie decides to prune herself so she can go to the void and basically try to help Loki. Then Renslayer goes and she starts interrogating Hunter B-15, who's been imprisoned. And after that, she basically the thing is okay. Here's a little criticism of this episode. She learned nothing from B-15 when she talked to her.
Right.
The scene was basically pointless.
Right.
I mean, I mean, the actors did great in the scene and everything. It's just nothing happened in that scene. That's my one, one of. I mean, there's probably other criticisms I have, but that's one of my major criticisms for the show in this episode. So,
right.
But maybe
I think it may have been. Oh yeah, sorry.
I was saying maybe there's more to it.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe it's mainly for us, the audience, to know that she's still alive. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just
like, don't worry, she wasn't killed.
Yeah. And I don't know. We'll find out in the next episode if there's more, symbolism or meaning behind that scene or whatever. So Renslayer then instructs Miss Minutes to help her find the TVA's creator. So
right now she wants to know, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So basically, what we're finding out is that Renslayer's just been obeying these things and doesn't know what else to do, but she still wants to obey these, commands from the from the timekeepers or whoever it is, but now she's not sure who's behind the timekeepers either.
Well, she's freaking out because she even said it's only her. She's like running the building now or whatever. Like you know what I mean? She was a judge, and then she answers to them, but now they don't exist.
And see, I think there's a lot of symbolism in the show about religion and stuff, and in a way. And I believe in God myself, but the thing is, it's like, in a way, it's kind of like or maybe a better example would be like when you're a kid and you're behaving because you don't want Santa Claus to not bring you the new PlayStation that you want or whatever, you know, and so you behave, but then when you become an adult and you find out there is no Santa Claus, it's kind of like in a way too with religion, like if you were to find out there is no God, because in this world, kind of the timekeepers were the gods in control of things. So she's like basically like a disciple of these people who basically then finds out that the God she's been worshiping doesn't exist and is an illusion. Right. So in trying to figure out who the real God is that she has been worshiping.
Right.
You know, so it's kind of interesting, you know.
It is, yeah. It really is. Sorry, I'm just thinking of Gator Smoke again. Such a cool name. I like it. I think it's gonna stick with me. I kind of like Gator Smoke now.
Yes.
We can make a cool T-shirt where it's just like a smoke monster, but it's got a gator head, or maybe it's just like a bunch of smoke around an alligator.
Or I was thinking it's just it's a gator smoking a marijuana. You know,
yeah, okay.
A gator with a doobie in his mouth. You know, we're good. You know, we got this.
Dude, I'm starting a jam band or a one man band. That's it. That's the T-shirt right there.
Yes,
whole new persona for me, starting right now. I can do it.
Make sure you look forward to Gator Smoke in the future, folks. We'll keep you updated here on All Too Real too. You know. For some upcoming shows about Gator Smoke. Matt Haas is Gator Smoke.
Yep.
In Gator Smoke.
In Gator Smoke. I'm not sure if it's going to be a one-man band or
playing the songs of Gator Smoke.
Gator Smoke. What's better than like that one time when I found this band and was it mp3.com like in the early 2000s before it got shut down for all the weird legal issues they had for like copyright infringement or whatever. There's a lot of good shit on there that unfortunately just got completely deleted off the internet. I can't find it anymore, but there was a band on there called Slipknot that was a jam band from like Massachusetts or some shit. And like you go to their website or their mp3.com site and like you just see a big thing like, no, we are not the metal band Slipknot. We came up with the name. Like, we've been together since 1992. We're not changing the name because you know.
That's funny.
They had some pretty good songs too. I had it on my old computer that's since then it's crashed, so I don't know if I can get the content anymore, but.
It's all good.
It's all good.
If you're listening, Slipknot, let us know.
Yeah.
Either one. Either Slipknot. I mean...
either Slipknot, yeah.
Let us know. We'd love to have you on the show. So, to talk about your music.
Yeah.
So, what else happens here in the episode, Matt?
So, the other Lokis, they take him down to like their lair, basically. That's like an old bowling alley where they just over time have collected a bunch of cool shit and kind of just made it their own little kingdom while they're hiding from the smoke monster, while they're hiding from Gator Smoke. And then and like the kid is actually like the main Loki because the
Lokis that we have down here are Alligator Loki, Boastful Loki, Classic Loki, and Kid Loki. And Kid Loki, is their ruler because he has killed Thor. Yeah.
Damn.
So yeah. And
which is
and it's really cool when he sits on his throne. He's drinking a ecto cooler.
Yeah, that's right. And he's like, it was like candy cane, very childlike throne, like.
But yeah, it's another discontinued drink from like the 90s. From the 80s,
exactly.
and 90s. So yeah, yep, and that's what he's drinking. I miss ecto cooler. That was so good.
Oh man, those are so good.
I mean, they came back like in like 2016 or something when the last when that Ghostbusters Answer the Call came out, the one with the female Ghostbusters.
Yeah, but I don't think I got any for some reason.
I didn't either. I wanted to. I couldn't find them anywhere. So,
damn, they probably sold out. Is what happened.
Yeah.
And, oh damn, yeah. He was drinking that, and then they're all just kind of like telling their stories, about what happened, like their version of what happened. Boastful Loki says that he killed Iron Man and Captain
America?
Yeah.
He
got all 6 Infinity Stones, and the gator smoke basically like makes like a grunting noise, and he's basically like telling us bullshit, and then like boastful Loki says something like, "Oh well, at least my Nexus event wasn't eating the wrong neighbor's cat."
Yeah.
The alligator jumps up and tries to bite his hand and stuff like that.
Oh boy, that's funny.
Yeah.
Do you want to take a break? Do you want to take a break really quick?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, sorry. We'll be right back, folks.
What is Gen X? What is the silent generation? What do generations have in common? Hi, I'm Trish the Dish from the Gen X Voice podcast, and I invite you to listen to conversations I have with folks from different generations, backgrounds, beliefs, and experiences in an attempt to see what connects rather than divides us. Even though Gen X has been called slackers, Karens, or not mentioned at all in some cases, we are the bridge generation, so I feel compelled to do my part to destroy ageism by bringing all these voices together. And, as a bonus, each guest gets to answer some 80s questions at the end of each show. So download and listen to Gen X Voice today on Apple, Spotify, Amazon, or wherever you listen to podcasts. And let's see how much we have in common after all.
Hi, this is Catherine, host of a new fashion podcast, The Real Fashion School Dropout. Join me as I interview guests every week in the fashion and beauty space, and we gossip on all things fashion and beauty, and even get into some personal stories of their journey in the industry. You can find us on Apple, Spotify, pretty much wherever you get your podcast. Hope to see you there.
So, Gator Smoke is opening up for the void, and boastful Loki. They're playing downtown, and we're gonna smoke some gators. I hear it tastes like chicken.
Apparently everything's supposed to taste like chicken. Well, why don't you just get chicken then? Why do you need to eat rattlesnake?
Yep, everything tastes like chicken. Those brownies I had the other day, they tasted like chicken.
Oh, God, chicken brownies.
So, what else happens in this episode here, Matt?
Okay, so old Loki, he's like the mature one, I guess. I said mature, not mature. I getting all fancy here. Not on purpose, just happened. That's what happens when the gator smoke gets serious. He gets serious, but he's like says what happens with him is that Thanos didn't really kill him because he cast an illusion that was so realistic looking that Thanos actually thought that he had killed him, and then he just went off and hid, and then he just basically floated through space for a while is what he said. And then he eventually found a planet just all to himself, I guess, and just lived alone for a long time. But then he got lonely after, you know, a number of years or whatever, and then he went back home to see if, you know, Thor was still there or whatever, and, you know, he missed his brother and his family. And then the second day he went to leave, that's when TVA picked him up for, you know, his, I guess, Nexus. I guess he was supposed to be killed by Thanos, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
and,
I mean, there was it's funny because there were fans that speculated, like one of the fan rumors was that's what Loki actually did in Infinity War.
Right, yeah.
So I think this is kind of Marvel's way of answering you, telling you, no, that fucking didn't happen. You know? So.
Not that Loki. The other, yeah, because this Loki, I mean, you'll find out later in the episode, this Loki is, like, insanely good at creating illusion. Like, way more than, like, our Loki could do. Like,
So basically, then we find out that Sylvie, you know, who has arrived there, she briefly enchants Eliath, the smoke monster. Before then, she's running from it, and she sees a pizza delivery truck coming towards her. And she gets in, and the driver is Mobius and Mobius.
Yep.
Wow. And he basically the two of them are trying to formulate a plan of what they're going to do. And she decides that we need to turn around and go towards the smoke monster because she wants to enchant it. Then we're back to our band of Lokis, and there's a second group of Lokis that is led by President Loki, who is recently in there was a comic series recently where Loki ran for president. It was back in 2016. He was like running against Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton in the comics, and his whole campaign was the fact that he admitted to the fact that he lies. So he was truthful about the fact that he was just going to lie, unlike most politicians who just lie and don't admit to it. And there was like a poster too that said his campaign was believe, but in the middle, the words, the letters LIE were like in a different color, so it looked like, you know, lie. So yeah, yeah,
that's great.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. Run. I didn't read it, but I've read the synopsis of it, and it sounds pretty cool. I might go back and actually read that run of comics because that sounds like a fun one to read.
Yeah.
So yeah, he goes in there, and it's like up to basically he comes down there, and there's like a big fight. Alligator Loki bites off President Loki's hand, which was pretty sweet. Yeah. Boastful Loki ends up betraying the other group of the Lokis that we've been with, and basically the whole time he was just basically lying to them as well. And he joins President Loki and his band of Lokis. And classic Loki, played brilliantly by the way by Richard E. Grant. He helps Alligator Loki, Kid Loki, and our Loki escape and they go out there and they eventually run into Sylvie and Mobius. And then using a TemPad that Sylvie stole from Renslayer, Mobius chooses to return to the TVA. This is after he's, talked to them and things, and he's just trying to understand. But the thing I don't get is he doesn't understand that there's an alligator Loki. He's like, that's a Loki too. But so that makes me wonder how many times his brain's been wiped. Like, you'd think that somebody that's been chasing Lokis for the TVA, especially, chasing Sylvie, would know that there's an existence of an alligator Loki.
Well, yeah, the only thing I was thinking about that, though, too, is, Loki has the ability to, shapeshift, so maybe he decided to become an alligator. Either he just decided to remain that form, maybe something happened where he couldn't go back to... You know what I mean? His true form or whatever. I don't know.
Who knows?
Probably just a funny thing they did.
Yeah.
Because too, do you remember too when they went down to their lair, you saw Frog Thor like jumping up trying to get the
Frog.
Yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, like when they were going down there too, and you also saw like a bunch of cafeteria trays and stuff.
Yeah,
and so that just makes you wonder, like, instead of cleaning cafeteria trays, did they just prune them to the void?
Yeah, exactly. Wait a minute,
at the TVA, so they don't feel like cleaning them, so they just prune them.
Yeah, wow. That's like so lazy of them. They're like, just throw it in the void.
Yeah,
just prune them.
which could be another metaphor for something in our real world, how we just throw shit away all the time and it ends up in a big landfill.
Oh, yeah, well, totally.
Yeah, so
exactly.
Yeah.
By the way, did you see the helicopter had Thanos written on it?
Yeah, which is from the comics as well. There was a time where Thanos used to travel around in a helicopter with his name written on the side of it.
That's like so uninspiring, like anticlimactic. Like, I'm thinking, like, what if Infinity War and Endgame had him showing up in a helicopter for the final battle, like
with his name on the side of it?
Yeah, like,
but the thing I go with on that too is it seems like a very Trump type thing to do.
Oh yeah, like his name, but too, like the helicopter was just so bland looking. Like, can you imagine him showing up in Endgame in a helicopter instead of a spaceship? And he's like, "You could not live with your own failures, and where did that lead you? Right back to me." And they're like, "Excuse me, like, hold on, is that your helicopter behind you?" Like,
I just had this weird image of like the opening of the TV show MASH with "Suicide is Painless" playing, where that helicopter comes landing in with the wounded, and but instead it's Thanos in his helicopter with "Suicide is Painless."
Oh God.
So anyways, like I said, Mobius uses the TemPad that Sylvie had stole from Renslayer and chooses to return to the TVA to reveal the truth about the organization to its workers. He asks all the Loki variants, the alligator Loki and the kid Loki and old Loki, to return with him, and they decide to stay behind to help fight.
Mm-hmm.
After the variants escape, well, they actually decide to stay behind just because they're used to being there, basically. So then Loki attempts to distract Eliath so Sylvie can enchant it. This was after there was also a really sweet little scene where Sylvie and Loki are talking to each other. Loki enchants himself a blanket because it's cold. And then he ends up making the blanket bigger so they both can cuddle together, sort of.
Mm-hmm.
Which is kind of weird.
It's a weird romance.
But the thing is it a romance or is it a friendship? Well, what is it?
It's one of those things where it's like it's like one of those in between things. I've had a couple of relationships like that where it's not just friendship, and it's not quite boyfriend girlfriend. It's like this weird sort of limbo where it's just you just deeply care about the other person, and it's like that's kind of the vibe I've got, from that.
Yeah, and I mean it is also the thing where it's like it's kind of like Loki's having his first friendship.
Exactly.
I mean, he also has a friendship with Mobius, because before Mobius goes back to the TVA, they hug, and it's like, thanks friend and stuff like that. They're friends, so it's kind of sweet that Loki is changing to be a good person overall.
Yeah.
So far, at least, it's character development, and like Jake pointed out on our group, there's a lot of things like where hopefully that there's some kind of good solution to this, but otherwise we basically just had character development for a character we already had character development for in the movies.
Yeah.
So he wasted 6 episodes of the show, so hopefully there's some kind of good solid solution in episode 6 that makes it worth all of this.
Yeah, I mean exactly, because at some point he's gonna have to go back to the original timeline where he gets killed by Thanos. Otherwise, that wouldn't have happened.
Maybe, unless there are rumors of a season 2 for the show too.
Oh, okay.
So, who knows? Maybe he takes over the TVA.
Yeah, and then just well, see, that would just ruin his character development though too if he did that. But
well, no. What I mean is not like in an evil way. Like maybe he's taking it over, and he's going to become like basically, it'll be like Quantum Leap, and he's righting the wrongs in history. He'll be like Sam Beckett on that show,
Ooh,
So
nice.
Yeah. Who knows? It could be like or like Legends of Tomorrow, where they have to fix anomalies and stuff that are happening in history.
Yeah.
So basically, there's that sweet scene between the two of them, which I really liked. So after the variants have all escaped, Loki then tries to distract Goliath in a kind of Ian Malcolm sort of way from Jurassic Park, where he's like waving some fire towards, so that he looks at him. Kid Loki had given him a sword, and that's what he was using to distract. Yeah, he conjured him a like a short sword that kind of has like magical powers. So they basically both fail while Sylvie's trying to enchant it. She can't enchant it. Then classic Loki returns in like an awesome scene where he creates this large illusion of Asgard, which to me in this scene kind of looked like the Emerald City from Wizard of Oz, which this show has a lot of allusions to. To basically, he created this illusion so it could distract Goliath. And then saving Sylvie. He ends up sacrificing himself in the process. And then Sylvie and Loki... Sylvie basically reveals to Loki that he has the powers to enchant as well. And they both use their powers together and enchant Goliath. And then, behind the void, we see this big citadel, which they end up walking towards, and that's how the show ends. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Which we're assuming that's where the real Time Master lives.
Right. I mean, yeah, it's probably, but yeah, that scene, that's the one I got the goosebumps on each time, is when Loki, classic Loki, he ends up sacrificing himself, and he's like screaming glorious purpose, and he's like laughing like a maniac, just as the smoke, gator smoke, kills him or whatever. And then like his helmet didn't, like, pretty much his helmet's still there, but the body's gone.
Yeah.
And man, that was such a good scene though too, because that, see, that's interesting, because like that classic Loki, that was sort of like his redemption arc too, because he had already kind of was an old man at that point. He was pretty much like a very wise person. Like he realized like the biggest flaw of a Loki is just being so like devious and and like just for its own sake, and it always leads to something bad, and
Yeah.
it seems like that was his final good deed or whatever, type of thing. It was just a really good scene. Like, if you haven't watched it yet, you just gotta watch him when he's just screaming at the smoke monster, saying,
I really hope
"Glorious
people are not
purpose."
listening to this that haven't watched it, because that would be kind of pointless.
I know, whatever, whatever.
Yeah. So, do you want to take a break here, Matt, and we'll come back and we'll talk about some trivia and some speculation?
Yeah, some trips and specs. Okay.
We'll be right back, folks.
Need a new podcast to listen to? Well, why not check out the Super Podcast from the Super Network at supermarcy.com, where we discuss films and pop culture, and we do monthly fan-voted commentaries. We are available on all major podcasting platforms.
And we are back with our glorious purpose here. Our glorious, glorious purpose of talking about some trivia. You ready for this, Matt?
Yeah.
Okay. Just before Loki and the 4 variants enter the underground vault, there is a small helicopter with Thanos written on it, as we've talked about. It perfectly resembles the helicopter Thanos piloted in Spidey Super Stories, issue 39, published in March of 1979, which was a simplified comic book adaptation of the Spider-Man spots from the TV show The Electric Company. So that's where that helicopter comes from. The title of the episode comes from the comic book series Journey into Mystery. Loki made his first appearance in issue 85. The original version of the series was renamed The Mighty Thor at issue 126. The original title was revived for various purposes, such as a horror anthology in the 1970s and various spin-off titles that feature characters from the Thor series in the 1990s and the 2000s. The USS Eldridge makes an appearance in The Void, a ship made famous by UFO myths surrounding the Philadelphia experiment, during which it supposedly traveled through time and or other dimensions. That's a conspiracy theory going around. Yeah. As we mentioned before, Kid Loki is seen drinking a carton of High C Ecto Cooler, a soft drink that was sold in promotion of Slimer and the Real Ghostbusters. Several Marvel Easter eggs can be spotted around the Void. Such include, we see a huge helmet of Yellow Jacket, the character from Ant-Man, the villain from that movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we see the Thanos copter, we see Throg, we see the TVA food trays, the Dark Aster, a helicarrier, a statue head of the Living Tribunal, and Kang's Citadel. So, many more Loki variants are briefly introduced. 2 worthy of recognition are Vote Loki, which is the President Loki, the leader of the pack, who is an exact copy of Loki from the comic book series named Loki and name of the same name, and Loki variant L8914. Who has a there was another a Loki variant L8. That's a different one, sorry. Who has horns and sunglasses, who was seen as a hologram in episode 2 of this show. On the TVA screen, the location Oak Island, Nova Scotia appears. It is a location that the Holy Grail is supposedly hidden. Later, the Lokis are drinking from goblets and grails, so who knows? Kid Loki gives Loki an ancestral blade called Leviathan, Leviathan, Levatinn, however that's pronounced. The blade comes from Norse mythology and has appeared in the comics. It is needed to slay a cosmic being. And Leviathan is Norse for damaged twig. So, okay. The pizza truck's license plate is GRNWID, or W1D. This refers to Mark Grunwald, who is a co-creator of the Alioth and the physical basis for the character of Mobius. There's a hula girl and an air freshener with a tropical island scene on the car that Mobius is driving. Both possible Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. / Tahiti references. In the background behind Horned Loki, in the Loki lair, is the arcade game Polybius. Polybius is seen as an urban legend that emerged in the early 2000s concerning a fictitious 1980s arcade game. The legend described the game as part of a government-run, crowdsourced psychology experiment based in Portland, Oregon, during 1981. Gameplay supposedly produced intense, psychoactive, and addictive effects in the player. Yeah, look up. There's there's various videos on YouTube about the history of Polybius, which are very. It's a very interesting little conspiracy theory. Yeah, the frog version of Thor, also known as Throg, is briefly seen as we go down, and it's in a jar labeled T365. This is a reference to the issue in which Throg originally appeared in Thor. After the tilting, twisting camera shot that ends with the severed head of the timekeeper, that was awesome too at the very beginning, the way the show opened. The camera work that they had on that.
Oh yeah, upside down. Yeah.
Yeah. The first structure we fly by is the Lighthouse of Alexandria, one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. It was destroyed by an earthquake in 1480. Debuting in the Avengers, the Terminatrix Objective #1 comic, Alioth is a large purple gaseous cloud similar to its depiction in this episode, unbound by time, who controlled a temporal empire triple the size of its rival, Kang the Conqueror. Okay, so that's our little trivia that we had here for this episode. So let's move on to speculation here, Matt.
Okay.
How do you speculate this show's going to end? Who do you think the big leader of the TVA is?
I don't really know. I don't know if it's just one person or if it's like a whole organization, or I don't know. I know some people are saying it's another variation of Loki. I don't really want that to be true because I don't know, because there's already so many Lokis,
Yeah.
Maybe Mobius. Maybe he's been playing a long con game, but I would hate that to be true as well because I really like Mobius. I don't know. I don't really know. Maybe not Kang the Conqueror, because if they already showed something of his already, in the void.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing that they've. There's several allusions to Kang throughout this show, which make me think it might be a misdirect. I think we definitely, because we already know Kang's going to appear in the next Ant-Man movie. And like I've said before, I think the best way to do this is have some kind of tease with Kang being involved in some way. But I think we need another reveal as well for the satisfaction of of like normal casual television viewers, because most people don't know who Kang is, you know.
Exactly. Well, you know what I think? I think Kang is this show's Mephisto, I think is what it is. Like, people like us who are doing research, like, oh, it's Mephisto, and it turns out it's Agatha. You know, like, or Agnes or whatever, you know.
It was Agatha, all along. And,
so I'm thinking this is going to be the Kang is this show's version of Mephisto. It's like, oh, here's a reference to Kang. Oh, Renslayer, she was Kang's lover, and, you know, all this stuff, and, you know.
See, I'm thinking Renslayer has something to do with it. Maybe it could be. It could be a variant of Mobius. Maybe not Mobius that we love, but another Mobius. You know,
another Mobius. Yeah, maybe that's, you know, she talked about all those rings from his coast. You know, drinks.
I'm still thinking that Mobius and or Renslayer are both variants of Loki.
Oh, okay.
That's my theory. I'm thinking there's something going on there. One of them is going to be revealed to be a Loki.
Okay.
That's another, you know, thing that could be a satisfying ending here, too. But I don't know who's behind the whole thing. It'll be interesting to find out.
You know, it'd be funny if it was that weird dude who played Pillboy in The Good Place.
Eugene Cadero, his character?
Because he hasn't been in the episode in the past 3 episodes, I've noticed. So... That
would be weird. I don't think it's going to happen, but
no, it would be weird. Well, just saying because it's so unassuming. You know, just like Agnes was.
Yeah.
I mean, we picked up on Agnes for a while, but she, you know, she's supposed to be his great neighbor and all this kind of stuff, and then it's probably not going to be him. But
no, it'd be funny if it was. I don't know who it could be. I know a lot of people are, like I said, are voting on Kang. Which, I mean, my thing is I understand that for the motivation of moving forward the MCU. And I think that we need to have some kind of Kang reference in the last episode, like maybe just like a teaser at the end, like in the end credits or something. But like I said, for the satisfaction of a casual viewer, that wouldn't make any sense, because that would just be like say you're watching, I don't know, like let's break this down to like an episode of Law and Order, okay? And you're trying to figure out who the killer is of some kid or something, you know what I mean? And then, you know, you get all these suspects. So it could be his dad, it could be this other guy we met in the episode, it could be this woman that we met here and there, you know. And then in the last like scene of the show, they reveal that the killer is just some random dude. That's what this would be like, you know.
Who's in some random dude who was in a comic book version of this episode, who was in that. Oh yeah, totally. We read about that guy. Yeah. Exactly.
It's some random dude who was in like season 1 of Law and Order, and we're in season 23 or something. You know what I mean? It's just like
exactly. It's like what? I mean, like, I do think Kang is definitely gonna be at least brought up. Maybe this is what alerts Kang to everything that's going on. You know, at the very end, like, he's not part of it, but then all of a sudden he hears about all this crazy shit going on. You know. And by the way, I'm sorry, but like, from what I've so far heard about Kang the Conqueror, I don't really understand. Like, it's like Thanos, for example, his motivation for becoming a quote villain, which he doesn't see himself as a villain, which most villains don't, is because, you know, his home planet was ravished by famine, and he warned the people that this was would happen, and then it happened because they didn't listen to him. So then that's what, you know, spurs him on his crusade to erase, you know, half of all creation so that the other half could. Okay, Kang the Conqueror's motivation is he grew up in a utopia where there's too much peace going on, and he was bored, Like, I mean, like, how is that, like, compelling? I don't know. Like, it just seems
well,
like...
they could change the motivation for the movies and stuff, too, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
The
like,
MCU doesn't always stick to the comic books, so...
I know. But I just mean, even from the comic books perspective, like, who would sit down and want to read, like, oh, man, like, I want to see what this guy's motivation is. It's like, oh, he grew up in a time of technological advancement and peace, and he got bored.
For a good villain, though, you don't always need the motivation. I mean, in the first Halloween movie, we never really understood totally the motivation behind Michael Myers. We never really understood the motivation behind why the Joker does what he does in Batman, you know?
Yeah, I suppose. But that's the thing, though. We don't understand. But if we did, and we find out, I was bored and I ran out of macaroni.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I'm just saying I'm just saying all villains don't need to be somebody who sees themselves as the hero. You know, so yeah. I mean, like a lot of villains. Some villains are just villains. They're just people that are just evil who, you know they're evil and do evil things.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not necessary. I mean, at least in literature and movies and TV and stuff. But in reality, a lot of times, I mean, I don't think that Donald Trump sees himself as the villain, even though he is. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. He does seem pretty devious, but
but overall, I think in a lot of things he does seem self-obsessed and narcissistic. But that could be a mental issue that basically causes him to act the way he acts.
Yeah,
where he, it's greed that has overpowered him, but maybe he didn't initially go out to become a villain. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's people do things for different reasons. But I guess there are people. I mean, I guess you could say that about him or certain people, that maybe they are just evil, But like a lot of times you do have an initial reasoning why somebody does something. Ted Bundy killed people because of some issues when he was a child. And it's like things like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Drugs sometimes mess up people's brains. Or this happens or stuff like that. But I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like the whole thing. It's like you don't know, is evil born in people or is it taught? It's just one of those questions that we have to ponder throughout life.
We have to ponder like philosophers.
Yes.
Yep.
So, any other thoughts here on this episode or the future of the show, Matt, before we wrap things up?
Well, I do want Mobius to have that jet ski ride.
Yes.
I need this to happen. Okay? I need this to happen. I even came up with another song. I mean, it's not really a song, it's just a jam. But I guess you could call it Gator Smoke's first jam. Yeah, awesome. I might like to play for you and probably screw it up like you. Because whenever I play, when people are listening, is when I start screwing up. But so we'll try it out. This is called Jet Ski Part 2 because of the other one was called Jet Ski. All right.
Okay.
You ready? Good?
All right, I'm ready.
Okay. All right. jet ski.
That was beautiful, Matt.
Thank you.
I think
Gator
Smoke should tour with that song.
Yep.
And release an album. Call it Glorious Purpose. And yes, release it to all the fans of Gator Smoke for a nominal fee. And
yeah.
Yes, in the near future. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed all of that. If you like the show, please give us a 5-star review on the Apple Podcasts or whatever podcast app you're on that can allow you to review things. And check out all2real2.com, our Facebook group, All2Real2 podcast group. It's a fun place to talk, debate, do whatever. I don't care. We won't censor you. And just don't be a jerk. And so people, be kind. Go outside, get some rays,
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Wear
some rain.
Wear some sunscreen too, though.
Yeah.
And wear a condom.
Well, okay. Yeah.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah. I mean, outside, I guess, but
I don't know. Maybe. You got to keep Trojan and Durex in business, man.
Yeah.
Anyway, so if either one of you would like to sponsor the show, please just let me know. It's Mike at cullenpark.com. But anyways, until next time, folks. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to All Too Real 2 podcast, a Cullen Park production. Produced and edited by Michael E. Cullen II. Music by Matthew Hawes. Subscribe and share the show. Visit us at cullenpark.com.